back. We ain't done yet. I don't know what happened. I don't know, somebody flagged it. It got struck down. I don't know what it is. Somehow just whatever. Right when I was cooking. Shout out to the people that was in the chat. Shout out to DSP, Onslaught Multimedia 2. Of course, the Research Ninja. Everybody that supports. But we ain't done yet. Let's get back to business. So anyway, let me double back to what I was saying about the whole when they took Farrakhan off and when they started actually systematically taking a lot of our voices off. Now, good thing we do have some good media programs that have been able to slip through the cracks because of organic support, right? But there was a campaign at one point a couple years ago. I don't know if y'all remember. There was a campaign to take all voices of our people off of the media. Not just the real ones. They even started taking the coons off because they realized even those that have platforms to get more influence. That's why they even took like the Roland Martins off, because they realized our pressure could make them start speaking to our real topics. And if they were to give them the leverage to have the influence and they were to switch and stop being coons or say some real shit, that would be detrimental to the dominant society. So they went on a whole campaign removing all black faces from the media. And anytime they replace them or put when they're carefully vetted first and they're kept in tight control. So as these things were happening, they were going after the real ones too. That's when they took Farrakhan off. This is actually around that same time they took Farrakhan off of Instagram and Facebook. Is about the same time I lost my channel. And my channel wasn't that big. It was like maybe 10K subscribers around there. It was already shadow banned. It was already flagged. It was already demonetized by that time. But that's about the same time they took my channel down. I'm not saying I'm a major factor because I'm not. It wasn't. But the point is, and I've done videos on this. This is one thing why I kick myself for not getting all those videos off. I did a video called Racist Algorithms, where I went into an article where they were highlighting Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram and how the algorithms target black people more than any others disproportionately. Keywords, hashtags, different things like that that they use to hone in to flag our channels. So when you have people, and this is Liberation Minded Media Group, in case you don't know, Liberation Minded Media is something that I started with some other platforms years ago, 2016. And I'm gonna go back to that. Rightfully, it is mine. I do have the right to do so, and I'm gonna do so. We're gonna be switching this platform a little bit. I don't want it to be about me. I don't want it just to be about going after Tarka Bay and Morris World TV. But anyway, see, to control our own narrative is imperative, because when other people are controlling our narrative, they're controlling what's going to be in history, meaning what the people are going to remember about this time right now, 50 years from now. If they control the narrative, they're controlling what the people will see. They're controlling his story. They're controlling the information we get, which by default will influence how we act, respond, or don't respond. You see, when they do things like never show us our victories, they only show us our defeats. This is something I've been saying for years. They never show us our victories. The mainstream media will never show you your victories. This is why when I had Black Guy Stand Radio popping and my other channel was popping, I would always show our victories as well. It's not just about, oh, this is what we need to do, or this is what happened to us, poor us. No, show our victories. Let the people know that in every community, and this is why I would show some of the things I would show. People thought I was just flexing. I wasn't flexing. I'm showing you that in every community, there are people who are doing things on a grassroots level. There are victories that we are claiming. I showed you the whole process about how we got a law change in Seattle, Washington to hold police accountable. The first ever to pass in the United States. Passed in a place where the population of black people was less than 5%. but we had to maneuver. We had to stay on code. And we were showing you this because we understood. I didn't lead that movement. I was just I was a part of it. This is all documented. I've showed all these things. But the reason why we were documenting this is with Andre Taylor, aka Gorgeous Dre. The reason why we were documenting that the way we were was because we understood that, yo, you guys have a bigger population in some other states. Like in Washington State, less than 5% of our people reside. I mean, less than 5% of the population is FBA. In Texas, is much higher. It's closer to 15. In Georgia, it's closer to 13. In some of these other states, that means that you guys could pull off that same thing. And we were hoping to start a chain reaction, but what we noticed is no one reported on it on a national level. Yeah, locally, if you're from Seattle, you know what the Initiative 941 is and what it took to get there, because it took a few years to get there. But it was never really shown on the mainstream national level, because that would have inspired other activists in other states to understand that we can actually make some moves to change laws in our favor. Now, to change a law is one thing, to enforce it is another, but you can't enforce it if it doesn't exist. So that's the importance of controlling our narrative, because we should be able to highlight these type of things that would gain momentum and inspire people. This is the detriment of having agents like Morris World TV, who's only to be, I don't want to get off topic, but I gotta show you this though. Bam, bam. See, controlling our own narrative is imperative. Remember that. Controlling our own narrative is imperative, because that's how we can highlight our businesses. We live in a time when everything is digital. We can support black businesses easier than ever. And I've done the math before. Most of our people spend about 2% of our money with our own. 2%. If we increase that to just 10%, that would create 1 million new jobs. 1 million new jobs. That means businesses will start thriving. Now, if we were to put our money in black banks and then give them the leverage it takes to loan for home loans and business loans, that would also be a huge step for economic foundation. And speaking of economics, reparations. If you ain't pro reparations, whether you think we're gonna get them or not, you're not even don't even watch this shit. Straight up. Because you ain't on code. See, we have to have an agenda. And then we have to have platforms to support that agenda. And that's why agent programs like this are so detrimental. Look at everything he's talking about. Never is talking about reparations. Never talking about police brutality against us. Never talking about economics. Not even teaching Morris science, even though it's the Morris World TV. The only thing that he does with this platform is aid and abet white supremacist race soldiers who would like to act violently towards us. And the way he does that is by undermining organizations and individuals whose purpose of even existing is only to protect us out of necessity. And we can't get the same kind of support that these white supremacist groups get when they're building their platforms purely on social media, getting support, getting their numbers up. Meanwhile, we have people like this. You can see these programs he has. All these programs are designed to undermine any type of support. A sex offender, woman and children beater. Whatever they have over his head must be pretty big. And he will meet his demise. Believe that. Know that. He will meet his demise. One way or another. This ain't a threat. This is just science. This is just karmatic law. And that's the way white supremacy operates. They always break their tools. They will neutralize their tools when they're done with them. Lest they're able to peep game and become a spook that sat behind the door, try to get some type of last minute forgiveness or get some of their karma or some of their bad juju off their chest. Before they try to make good with the ancestors, they're going to get rid of him. And his legacy will be that of an agent. But until then, he's a detriment who's undermining the same type of groups that are meant to protect us. Because as I've already showed you on the one before I got disconnected, they're using social media. If you didn't see that one, check out the video right before this. They're using social media to get their numbers up, to get their support up, financial support up, to get their message out, uninterrupted, unlike those of us who try to put a solid message and a good narrative out.
Know about some of the threats that were happening online, and yes, there were people
not a conspiracy to riot.
In my opinion, I would gladly
Detained came from at least 11 states, including Idaho. Additional charges could be filed. All 31 are expected to be arraigned Monday morning.
Now notice that he said they came from 11 different states. 11 were the support for their mission. And the only reason it was thwarted was only because they were going after LGBT. Don't get it twisted. If it was going against us, they would have let it happen first. And then probably refused to call it a hate crime. Piling up thousands on social media, while our own social media platforms will act like agents to aid and abet them. Even exposes them. Never. Never exposes the shenanigans in courts that go against us. Never. The banking discrimination. Never. The only problem he has is with our people. Meanwhile, over here, hate-filled ideologies are more exclusive across mainstream platforms like Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Telegram, YouTube. To avoid detection from artificial intelligence-powered moderation, users don't use obvious terms like white genocide or white power. Of course, they do things like white boy summer. But they also don't have people of their own that are going against them like we do. They support theirs. Anyway, that's it, y'all. Make sure you check out the video I did before this. Make sure you subscribe, like, all that good stuff that helps with the algorithms. You know what I'm saying? Comment. Let me know what you think, whether you agree or not. Liberation Minded Media will be revamped.